Hey guys, we are back with a vinyl video.
We have a top 5 most wanted records in our collection.
Not in our collection, because that's why we want them.
Oh!
We both have records that we really want that we don't have for various reasons, often because they're out of print. And when records go out of print, their price skyrockets in the secondary market usually, if it's a good album and it's in demand.
Or because we're poor because we still don't make money off of this YouTube channel, so we can't buy that many records.
Very true. So we're going to really quickly run down our top 5, starting from least expensive to most expensive records that we really want in our collection.
Don't give me crap about this, because I know it's easily available, kind of.
Kind of, if you're not in America.
If you're not in America. But since I'm in America and I have a low budget to spend, this is something that I want that I don't have. The UK pressing of Alt J's An Awesome Way. Why? Because I think it's one of the first albums that I actually seriously took in as a whole album, and it has a very sentimental value to me. And it's opened up the way I listen to other type of music. So that's why I really want it. And the UK version is pressed in white vinyl, which I'm like a sucker for colored vinyl, and because it supposedly sounds way better than the pressing that they did in the United States.
It's true. I own the one from the United States, and it's one of my favorite albums ever, and the pressing sounds like ass. I don't know what they did to it, but it is so bad. So my number 5 is an album by Beck. Now, Beck has a lot of out-of-print albums, and Beck is a very respected artist that people love. I don't know why there's no box set of his albums yet. It's kind of weird, but of all the albums, the one I want the most, it's probably not on the top of everyone's list.
Hipster.
It's his Mutations album. And I love this album because I found it at a Goodwill on CD for $1. And I was like, I haven't heard this Beck album. I'm going to listen to it. And I listened to it for like 2 weeks straight in my car. I just couldn't stop. It's such a diverse album. There's like bossa nova influence, and like he has all these genres. Beck changes his sound with every album. And this is my favorite of his that I've heard, but tends to go for about $70 to $110. So they did just do a bootleg of it, so I'm not going to fall prey to that. I'm going to wait for a real repress.
Okay. 4th on my list is Where the Wild Things Are, motion picture soundtrack by Karen O and the Kids.
Good choice.
Yes, if you haven't seen this movie, watch it, and you're going to fall in love with the soundtrack. The soundtrack in itself is a character in the movie, I think, and it's just so simple, yet so emotional.
It's almost like New York is a character in the film.
Shut up! I'm being serious. To me, it has this haunting sound that just stays in your brain for weeks. This album has ranged from $55 to $100, so it's pretty high up there.
Not chump change. It's weird. I feel like a lot of the best soundtracks haven't been repressed, and I think they're doing that on purpose. It's kind of annoying.
I know.
It's definitely up there. It's a great soundtrack.
Thank you. Ooh, 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 ooh.
I don't know what she's doing.
A subscriber of ours told me that I had to sing since we're not playing music anymore, so I did that.
Go.
I did that for them.
Check
there you
that
go.
off the old list. My next one on my list is a band called Caesar's Palace. Well, they used to be called Caesar's Palace, and then they became the Caesars later in their career. A lot of you know them from a song called Jerk It Out that was on, I think, an iTunes commercial. iPod commercial, I think, back in, I don't know, mid-2000s.
How does that go?
Then you jerk it out.
Oh, I know that song.
So they're from Sweden, and their first 3 albums they went under Caesar's Palace. I guess they changed it because Caesar's Palace was probably like, stop doing that. I don't know. But the first 3 albums are really hard to find. They were under Dolores Recordings, and I've tried to contact them to see if they have extra copies. I've never got an email back.
Creepy.
Yeah, but I think there's 500 copies of this album. It's called Cherry Kicks, and it was kind of a soundtrack to my high school. I remember when I got my iPod, I listened to it all the time. It's like this kind of like fun, like electro kind of rock, like alternative rock album. It's really good, and I'd love to own it, but so far it's eluded me. It tends to go for about $80 to $150. So,
okay, can we get a little jam for this next one? Guys, the next one on my list is the soundtrack to Space Jam, because it's the coolest movie in the world, and I used to run cross country, and every single time before I ran, I would listen to Space Jam. That was my lucky song, so I want that.
You want that on vinyl?
I want that on vinyl.
Oh, you mean like this?
Yes, I want that!
This isn't as exciting of a moment as you think it is. Quick little story. I found this on Discogs about 2 years ago for $20, and I got so excited because it's so rare. and they shipped it to me, and I guess they didn't realize both the discs are the same disc, and it's the second disc, so it doesn't even have Space Jam on it.
Can I have the extra copy?
Yeah, sure, but it doesn't have anything you want on it. Oh, it got Monica,
Yeah.
Salt and Pepper,
Salt and Pepper.
R. Kelly, Spin Doctors. All right, maybe this is pretty good.
And Space Jam goes for $75 to $110.
Yeah, it's fairly rare, and that's mostly for the gatefold version, the actual album. There is a promo, which is this one, which is not a gatefold, it's just a open sleeve. So my next one is, I'm doing two, I'm cheating, because
What?
it's the same artist, and it's kind of lumped together in my brain as something I'll never have.
That's
So,
not fair.
It's my boy, Mark Kozelek, his project Sun Kill Moon. Did you just roll your eyes?
Yes.
Oh, such a Philistine. His first two albums, Ghosts of the Great Highway and April. They go for between $150 and $300 depending on the variant, and there's a lot of copies of them rolling around. I think there's over 1,500 copies of April and over 2,000 copies of Ghosts, and they're still impossible to find. I go to Amoeba in Hollywood, and they have both of them on their wall for the past 3 months, just taunting me.
My fourth album is probably my second favorite album of my whole life. It's called Acabo Choraré by Novos Baianos. I have no idea if I'm saying it right. It is Portuguese. It is a Brazilian band. And this album, honestly, from start to end, is a perfect album. Would you agree?
I love it. I mean, you got me into Brazilian music, and of the Brazilian music I've heard, it's easily top 3.
Yes. It's pure, fun, energetic. Okay, let's put it this way. If I were on my deathbed 2 seconds away from dying and someone started this album, I would sing and live throughout the whole album until it stopped, and then I would die. That's how much energy this album gives me.
Wow.
I'm not kidding. So I would love this album on vinyl, but it is pretty expensive and rare, so probably not getting it unless one of our viewers from Brazil wants to give it to me that has it.
Good luck with that.
It goes from $75 to $130.
That's the original press, too, the 70s press. There's been a couple represses since then, I believe, even in the past 10 years or so, but
Yes.
I think you should hold out and get the original. That'll be a good day.
One of my dreams is to go to a karaoke bar in Brazil and sing this album with someone, or just by myself.
Just you, doing the whole album, and everyone in the bar is like... My second to last album on my list is the Avalanches, Since I Left You. It's an Australian band, and they specialize in plunderphonics, which is a genre of music where you take pre-existing music and you almost collage it together to make new music. And they're absolutely geniuses when it comes to that. This is one of my favorite albums of all time. Came out in 2000. Originally had a pressing in Australia that's the Holy Grail of it because it had all the samples. But in the few represses it had, some of the samples didn't clear or something. I want the original Australian press. And unfortunately that goes for $150 to $300.
$300?
It is a very sought after album. It got a repress 5 or 6 years ago on blue vinyl, but that's one of the ones that doesn't have all the samples.
Yeah.
So it looks cool, and I'd take that if I could get it, but...
It's more than my car payment.
It is not a cheap endeavor to get this album, but it's very well loved. You should listen to it if you don't know it. It's such a fun journey. It's just the most beautiful, incredible sound, and there's nothing like it. Also, it's currently at Amoeba taunting me on their back wall, so that's good.
Okay, so my number one is Coconut Records' Night Timing. Because why? I love Jason Schwartzman, and he wrote every single song in this album, and he plays almost all the instruments in it, and he's a genius. I love everything he does, everything.
Such a good pop album. It's so good.
It goes for $70 to $200, and once it's sold for $300.
That's so expensive. Kill me. It's a picture disc, which, is known to have not quite as good of quality of sound usually.
But, who cares?
I still want it, though. I want it, too. If I see it in the store, I'm going to hide it from you and take it.
No.
I will. I've never seen it in person, but one day. Or he'll just repress it if you're smart, Jason Schwartzman. My final album on my list is our boy, Mr. Action Bronson. He is an incredible rapper. We've talked about him in videos before. If you haven't listened to him, what are you doing? Listen right now. His album, Dr. Lecter, one of his first mixtapes or albums, I'm actually not sure which it is. It was pressed by Chop Herring over 3 different variants, and it has 500 copies total. every time I see it for sale, it is a crazy price. This thing literally goes for about $200 to $400. It is such a rare album. And I've emailed Chopped Herring, and they said they're probably not going to repress it. So this is probably one of my Holy Grail records, and if I ever saw it, I would lose my mind. I'm lucky enough to have Blue Chips, which is also pressed by Chopped Herring and goes for about that price too. So that's, I think, my rarest record.
So there you have it, folks. The things we really want, but we don't have, and we probably won't get.
So depressing.
I know. Tell us what you want, what's on your list. Let us know because we love reading your comments.
Yeah, post them right there and we will read them and respond.
Okay, guys. Well, till next time.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Cindy.
And this is Damn It, Sandy!